Great. Okay, so we'll get settled in. And I feel a bit inspired today to talk about equanimity. Equanimity, my teacher Shinzen says quite simply, it's being with our experience without push or pull, without pushing away the unpleasant and without clinging to the pleasant. And I just got in from work where every Sunday morning, I teach a kind of deep dive body scan. And, even people who are pretty new to practice, if you've had that type of guidance before, it's very relaxing. And physical relaxation is a really great way to cultivate equanimity. So I thought today we would do not necessarily a body scan, but to detect or cultivate a state of rest in the physical body. And not just that, but perhaps also notice now and again what type of impact that physical relaxation has on the mind space, has on the emotional space. So why don't we start with checking in, just with how it feels to be you in this moment. And we can take a look at how we're feeling physically. And it's not always that like it's just a one thing. I might have some, pain somewhere in my body, but also feeling quite relaxed. Or I might be feeling actually quite positive and happy, but notice there's tension in my body. So we'll just kind of get a bead on the physical experience, the emotional experience for us in this moment, without judgment, without needing to fix anything, or without anything needing to stick around. And we can also tune into the mind space. So is it busy? Is the general flavor on the more negative side, positive, neutral? Could be all of that. And so we're going to now choose to focus our attention on the physical sensations. And I think for this practice, let's just include all sensation, not needing to discern whether they're there for purely physical reasons or emotional. For this practice, we're going to try to focus on physical sensations in the body. So let's start out by seeing if the experience of rest or relaxation is already present. We might be just generally feeling relaxed, or we might find it, in the fingers, the elbows, the earlobes. There might be parts of the body that do feel pretty quiet, neutral, relaxed. And if you find some of those places that are just available, hang out with them for a bit. Let your attention land on one particular area of the body that feels restful. Soak into that. If you feel like using a label would support your concentration, your ability to stay with that sensation, you could use a label like restful or relaxed. Any word that works for you. But if your concentration is pretty stable, you may not need to reinforce it with a label. And if you're like, I cannot find relaxation in my body, could be a number of reasons for that. Could be there's an emotion present that's challenging, could be some pain in the body that's kind of loud, holding our attention. Could be the mind is really busy. We can try to cultivate relaxation by noticing, oh yeah, my shoulders are tight. Let's see if on an out breath I can soften that, if I can release the holding. You might notice your jaw is being held a bit tightly. You can invite that to unhinge. Let the tongue relax inside the mouth. So we can notice parts of the body where we're maybe bracing, holding tension. There's some tightness. And we extend this invitation for this letting go, to let that melt away, but it's just an invitation, so we can't force it. And the sensation may not only persist, it may get stronger. Something that can happen can have the opposite effect of what we intended. So that's when we try to bring that equanimity again. Okay, yes. Letting sensations get more intense and spread if they want to. If that feels okay. So letting sensations fade and disappear. And if we are indeed able to convert tension to relaxation, just staying with that restful place in the body, enjoying it. Letting that sensation spread that's available. And I often use the exhalation as a cue for that letting go, that invitation, because the exhalation itself is a letting go. The natural exhale is a letting go of the effort of the inhale. So we're holding our attention with body sensation. So that means we need to have background equanimity with everything else that's happening, thoughts, sounds around us. And because we're focusing on the relaxed or restful experiences in the body, we also need to have background equanimity with the more active sensations. A willingness to let them just be as they are, come and go, as we hold our focus on the more neutral experiences in the body. That can be quite challenging. So if your attention does get pulled away, yeah, our attention usually moves to the moving, shining, shiny, colorful things. And here we're really developing our concentration by focusing on more subtle. If you are experiencing the rest spreading through the body, you may experience this kind of overlay of rest, even where there's more active sensation. Or you might think of that kind of the opposite, that underneath the active sensations, there's this quiet, this rest that's available. That may or may not make sense. But it might be more and more available to experience both stillness and activity at the same time. And the activity may thin out, become more spacious. In order to appreciate that kind of stillness, the quiet. And if we're not able to access that restfulness, that rest that's behind or throughout sensation, we can still find it around the more active sensations, between them. And we may start to get a sense that these more active sensations are like these little clouds or patches. And between those spots, those places, it's neutral, it's quiet. So maybe letting go of our usual sense of the body, the layout, the mental image of the parts. Experience it more directly as these clouds of sensation, and the neutral, restful space between. And again, if that's not available, that's perfectly fine. Can still appreciate that we find rest in different parts of the body. As we shift into a deeper and deeper state of relaxation, the attention can grow dull. We can lose our concentration. So just checking in to see if there's still a brightness, kind of an aliveness to your attention, even as perhaps you're inviting and contacting this deep state of rest. And even if the body is feeling more spacious, more quiet, we can still be very present for that. To notice, to focus on that relative lack of sensation. If you feel like you have a strong contact with rest, feel stable, you want to introduce a bit of a challenge or accelerator to your practice. You can let the eyes open slightly. For starters, to a soft, unfocused gaze. Let your gaze land somewhere and not move it. And continue to practice. Continue to hold your attention in the body, to continue to find, cultivate, appreciate experiences of rest or relaxation. By opening the eyes, we've introduced more distraction. But as our practice grows and matures, we do want to bring it more and more into our daily life. To integrate it as we move throughout our day, If you feel like you're losing the contact with rest, you can close the eyes. Reestablish that contact and decide if you want to keep them closed or toggle back and forth a bit. If you're interested, you can check to see if this experience of rest has spread to the mind space. Does it seem quieter in the mind? Does it seem quieter in the emotional space? Perhaps appreciating the impact this physical relaxation can have on the other sensory gates, the other aspects of our experience. And there's no right answer, just noticing. And it's possible that you've noticed the physical relaxation hasn't necessarily quieted the mind or changed the content of the thoughts. There may still be a challenging emotion present, but maybe there's more equanimity with that, more okayness with what's happening in your experience. Just something to explore. So I'm going to invite you to, if you'd like to, shift our focus a bit, still on body sensation, specifically any experience of relaxation, rest, And see if there's a pleasantness, like a bit of an emotional piece to that. Peace, Piece, but it might be Peace, peace, peaceful. Is there a pleasantness? To this physical experience of relaxation? And if so, let's highlight that. Might even bring some mental images, something kind of glowy or light, illuminated or open. You can see a vast blue sky. You may or may not get a corresponding mental image, but if it's available to you, enjoying any positive kind of emotional connection to that restful state. You might have some mental talk arise, like the word peace or quiet, relax. Or you might focus primarily on the feeling of positivity in the body. Whatever that means to you. And for the last bit of the practice, we've got about 15 minutes left. I'd like to build on that positivity. It might already be flowing quite strongly. Feelings of happiness, joy, love, connection, gratitude, humor, any positive emotion. Might be very present and available. But if it's more subtle or not at all present, let's intentionally cultivate positivity. And we can do that a number of ways. We can bring to mind beautiful memories, can bring to mind a single word, part of a prayer or mantra, an affirmation. Could be one from a tradition or one that we've created ourselves. Can also visualize beautiful places that we've been or would love to visit, people in our lives that care for us, that we share happy moments with, pets, really anything. We're creating mental images and mental talk, one, the other, or both, to try to strike that bell of positivity. And when we're able to do that, then we can see how that positive emotion has impacted our physical sensations. How does that emotion feel? Where is it showing up and how? So with this practice, it's kind of a two-part practice. Part of our attention is in the mind space, the mental images, mental talk, as we create the thoughts that cultivate the positivity. And once it's resonating, we bring the attention into the body to see if we can find and track those emotions somatically. And we repeat that process over and over. Cultivate the thoughts. Positivity becomes available. Locate and ride that wave in the body until it comes to an end. And we repeat. Sometimes just physically putting a bit of a smile on our face can support this blossoming of positivity. And if positivity is just present, or we can just kind of flip a switch and activate it, we don't really need to involve the mind. So we'll do our best to continue this positivity practice for the next 10 minutes, this can be challenging. For even very experienced meditators, this is often a very difficult practice, these heart practices. So just doing the best we can, having equanimity. If we're a bit slow to get the positivity flowing, sometimes negative emotions will show up instead. It's not uncommon. So we can have kind of a background equanimity with those while we continue to try to cultivate positive. But as always, it's completely up to you how you want to practice. If you do have some momentum with positivity, connected with the sensations in the body related to that, you can invite those sensations to spread, to fill the body with positivity. And if that feels easily available, you can imagine that positivity even spreading beyond you to others. In the Buddhist tradition, there's the sequence of being sometimes talked about when we're engaging in heart practices. So we can offer some of this positivity to people that are dear to us, our loved ones, including the four-leggeds, the little furry family members. Continue to expand that out to acquaintances, members of our community, perhaps folks we have some difficulty with, if that's possible, to all beings, to the plants, the animals, the insects. Just as that seems interesting and available to explore. Beautiful. Okay.